Do you find it hard to just sit and do nothing? Or what about even when you're playing with your kids or you're talking with possibly another adult? You find it hard not to constantly have something in your hands or be listening to music even, or, just this constant kind of stimulation. Do you find it hard to just sit in the quiet and for your body to actually relax? This is something I hear quite often from women whenever I suggest that they spend more time relaxing and have these little breaks throughout the day, and it's something that they really struggle with. So I wanted to just kind of dig into this topic and just give you some ideas on why that might be. So if this is you, stick around because hopefully you're going to learn something about the steps that you can take so that you can fully relax and really get the rest that you need. Let's go. So with this whole topic of, why is it so hard to relax? I think it's just really important to first off pay attention to the signals that your body is giving you, because when it is hard to relax and you're kind of fidgety or you have this kind of anxious tendency, or, maybe you have heard from, someone that you're working with your health, or you just know maybe that innately you just need to spend more time, I'm saying relaxing here, but I really mean in the quiet, not distracted, all of that. But you just find it really hard to do that. You just are almost like, it's just hard, right? So that is really our body's way of saying that our nervous system is kind of on edge all the time. And that is definitely a physiological thing that is going on, but also it's habit, right? If we are constantly on our phone or busy doing something, or even mentally, our thoughts, we just find it really hard to quiet them. A lot of times that's habit, but also, like I said, there's something physiologically going on that really is not allowing your body to relax easily. So I'm going to kind of dig into number 2 of this, right? Obviously, we know some of these habits we probably need to break, but yet what is going on inside our body? So one thing that definitely could be going on is that your body has actually become addicted to stress hormones. And stress hormones are not innately bad, and I'm talking about cortisol and adrenaline. There's others, but those are the main 2. And that these things are there for a reason, right? Our body is not necessarily messing up whenever we have become addicted to these stress hormones. It's actually just a form of survival, right? Our body wants to survive, and so it's going to constantly emit these stress hormones if we're telling it to. And typically the scenario that our body is getting ready for is so that we can get away from something that might cause us harm, right? It's like the fight or flight. But yet we are constantly maybe having these thoughts and emitting, our body is emitting in response to that these stress hormones, but yet it's behind a screen and we're not like running away from a tiger or something. So there's no way for our body to like burn through these stress hormones. And so it just kind of builds and builds. And it's definitely something that our body can get addicted to. It's almost like we need them for that little bit of high, if you will. It's like a natural high, I would say. So that's definitely could be going on. And that not being able to relax is a really good indication that cortisol and adrenaline may be something that you've become dependent on. And like I said, you just need a little bit of a little hit or a constant stream of these excitatory hormones, because without them, it just feels weird. It feels abnormal. And that really is a good sign that you're locked into this chronic state of stress. But you might be unaware, possibly unwilling, or maybe even unable to make changes, right, to break this habit. So that might be something to kind of dig into and think about more. But let's look at some other things. Mineral imbalance is something that does make it harder to relax and does kind of keep us in this maybe excitatory state, if you will. And I'm going to dig into these in just a minute. I'm going to kind of list them first and then dig into them. So mineral imbalance is one. Undernourishment is another. Parasites could possibly be an issue with this. And then also heavy metals could play a part too. So in no particular order, let's dive into these a little bit. So parasites. Parasites are something that may sound like, oh, I definitely don't have parasites, but you don't have to live in a third world country to get parasites now. They are very, very, very common. Most people have them. It just depends on how much and what type of parasites you might have. So parasites in general, their presence undermines your nervous system. And this can cause it to really be out of balance, right? It can cause it to decrease in certain chemicals that are needed to have your nervous system perform properly. And so that can really keep us, it could go either way, honestly. Parasites can make us to where we just kind of numb out to things, or it could make us to where it's just really hard to relax and we're kind of on edge all the time. But that can definitely mess up some of your nervous system regulation. So parasites could be a problem that is sort of an underlying issue of why it's hard to relax. So next, heavy metals. Heavy metals also disrupt your nervous system. And so they cause you not to be able to calm down appropriately. And heavy metals are something that are sort of a controversial topic, I would say, because some people believe that we should have no heavy metals, and others believe that they play a part, they play a role in a healthy body, right? It just depends on how much you might have of these and which ones even as well. So if you're curious about this, a hair test might be a good option for you. If you have maybe looked into some of these other things and you just really want to continue to dig down deeper to get to the root cause, a hair test might be a great bit of information. And you can find ways that you can work with me through a hair test on my website under the Work With Me tab. And I'll make sure to include that in the description of this video. So heavy metals might be one, parasites might be one. I mentioned mineral imbalance. That could be another as well. And so mineral imbalance is something that maybe you've heard about before. Obviously, you know we have minerals and they're important, but the imbalance really is a big deal when you think about your nervous system and why it might be a little bit harder to relax. So when your minerals are off, it does affect your nervous system and also your adrenals and also your thyroid. So they kind of go really all together, thyroid, adrenals, and your nervous system. So just in general, just really quickly, I wanted to make sure you know the connection between the adrenals and the thyroid. So whenever our body looks for energy and looks, for power, if you will, it goes to the thyroid first. And whenever the thyroid is kind of burnt out and is not giving it what it needs, it goes to the adrenals next. And you can think about this like the thyroid is sort of the power source of like your home. And then if your power source of your home goes out, you might need to get a generator. And so things can really go astray whenever we burn out our thyroid and then we go to the adrenals, and it's like you wouldn't run your house on a generator all the time. So that's kind of what happens though whenever we don't really support our thyroid and we're just constantly in this state of stress. Our adrenals get a lot of stress put on them, and so they can actually burn out as well. And so all of this really fits together, but I just want for you to kind of understand how that works. But just for instance, I'm going to give you a for instance here about mineral imbalance and why it might be hard to relax. So calcium and magnesium are two of the main 4 minerals that are very important, or kind of called the macro minerals, and they really dictate a lot of the other mineral balance that is going on in your body. So if they get off, most of the time they're going to get off together because they stick together. It's kind of part of your body's survival mechanisms, if you will. That can majorly affect your nervous system and just your ability to wind down, and even your sleep for sure it can affect that. So the main 4 minerals are big players in this balance. And again, doing a hair test might give you some great insight on what are those main 4 minerals doing, and then how can we seek to balance those so that everything else can kind of have a chance to get into balance. And I will mention on the mineral imbalance, doing a daily adrenal cocktail could be a really great way for you to work on this without really knowing where your levels are. And so I'm going to include a blog post that I did in a previous YouTube video also on adrenal cocktail, and I'm going to put that in the description as well. So mineral imbalance could be another issue of why it might be hard to relax. And then lastly is undernourishment. So undernourishment really just means that you are not getting enough calories and or not getting enough nourishing foods that contain the vitamins and the minerals that your body needs. And, so often in our culture, we think about, gosh, we're eating way too much, right? There's a problem with obesity and et cetera. But I think that more so maybe in the holistic health world, there's a problem with undernourishment because we've scaled so far back and we're trying to lose weight and be like ripped or whatever your thought process is and the way that you want your body to look on the outside, that we are really undernourishing our bodies. We're not getting enough calories and we're not getting enough nourishing foods. And so that can really affect a lot, but definitely the ability for us to relax, because think about it. If you don't give your body enough food, then it's constantly in this state of just like hunger, but also survival mode. That really is a stress on your body. And so then again, stress on your body says, oh, I need to release cortisol and adrenaline. So again, constant state of those hormones being present. And so all of that equals you really can't get into the part of your nervous system that really is the like rest and relax and digest stage, and I should say state. So that's definitely a problem and an issue that you might want to look into, and just track your calories and see how many calories am I getting? Because I can tell you 1,200 is not enough. It's not. So you need at least 1,800 to 2,000 for most women. I'm talking to women here, for most women, and even upwards of that if you are a nursing mom, or if you are doing a lot of heavy exercise, or just like long periods of exercise, just more intense, you're going to need more calories than that. So this could be a really big underlying issue for you. And so I think it's just important to kind of take all this in and realize that you cannot heal in the same environment that got you sick. That's really important to note. You need to think about some of these things that I'm mentioning and like, yeah, I do, this kind of does sound like me, and I really haven't dug into that yet. And just to see what might be the best thing for you, and just take purposeful and intentional steps to create an environment that supports healing, and so that you can begin to change, and that you can find it easier and easier to relax and get really good quality sleep at night. And even though you might still have stressors during your day, of course we all do, you're going to take blocks of maybe even 5 minutes to focus on just breathing deeply, because so often we stay in this, just to take a deep breath feels so nice because we have shallow breathing whenever we're in this stressful state. So just something as simple as taking a breathing break could be a really great thing. Taking a walk outside, doing a little 5-minute, 10-minute, 20-minute meditation, whatever it might be, just to try to change your state of your nervous system so that you're not in this constant state of fight or flight and your nervous system is so stimulated. So I just want to encourage you with this. I know that it might be a hard habit to break. It might take a little bit of time. It's definitely going to take some time to get to maybe the root of what's going on, and really get to that place, that state, so that your body can relax. And it might only be for 2 or 3 minutes, but I think those small wins are definitely going to add up to big change. And so I hope this has been helpful to you. I'm going to link all the things that I mentioned in the description. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up, subscribe to my channel, because I love to put out content like this every single Wednesday. I have a new YouTube video and blog post. So I love to help women really just feel their best so that they can show up on mission every day for what the Lord has called them to. That's really my goal, and why I show up here and on Instagram and with the clients that I work with. That is so important to me, and that is at the very basis of why I do what I do. So relaxing is not something that you have to earn, and it's not something that is just for those that are lucky. Like, oh, I never get to relax. You need to make time for this. It needs to be a priority. And so that's why I wanted to make this video, just to give you a little bit more insight on what is actually going on and how you might take steps to lean in more to relaxation in your life. So thank you so much for joining me, and I'll see you on the next video.